Okay, today we're going to start Sadik Tess Amid Aleph. It's 99A. Remind me your first name? Yes, Victor. Okay. So we're going to start with the words Va'imer Ein Teira Min HaShamayim. That is, it's about 12, 13 lines from the bottom. I'm going to get a Sanhedrin. Oh, okay. Okay. I thank Hashem that they're able to learn Torah every day. It's chesed for learning. We should have the basic Mikdash. We're learning for Shleima, for Taliban Menuch Bela, and whoever else needs her for Shleima, and Eretz Yisrael, the hostages. Should be safe. Okay. So the Mishnah said that everyone has a share in the world to come. Then it says in the following, do not have a share in the world to come. One of those that does not, it says, someone that says that the Torah is not from heaven. And it says not b'keiros. So Tanu Rabbanan, taught in the Brisa. Dvar Hashem baza. Word of Hashem, he shames. It's referring to someone that before it's talking about worshiping idols. Amazing. Mitzvah hefer. And he disturbs the mitzvahs. And he cuts the cuts. He'll be cut off, doubly cut off. Who is this person? And the Dvar Hashem baza. This is what is the Dvar Hashem, the word of Hashem, he shames. This is someone that says, Ein Torah min HaShamayim. Someone that says that the Torah is not from heaven. And Davar Acher, another pshat. Dvar Hashem baza. The word of Hashem, he shames. It's apikeiros. This is an apikeiros. What does an apikeiros say? He's not denying that the Torah is from heaven. He accepts that the Torah is from heaven. He's saying that he just doesn't have to keep it. The word apikeiros over here means hefker. It doesn't control me. I'm not obligated to keep the Torah.
First question is that like people that say like the oral Torah, like they just ignore that.
You can differentiate between the oral Torah and the written Torah. It just says Ein Torah min HaShamayim. It's not doesn't have a divine origin. The second one is it's not denying the divine origin. It says it could be it is from he doesn't discuss that. He just says that I don't have to keep it. Another pshat ki Dvar Hashem baza. What does it mean? He shames the word of Hashem. This is he interprets the Torah according to his own benefits. He puts interpretations into it. What does it mean to make it fit for what he wants? Best mitzvah hefer. We go further in the pasuk. He disturbs the mitzvahs. Zeh hamefer bris basar. This is someone that takes himself out of the covenant. He either doesn't do a bris or he puts it back on. Right? It's mefer bris. He makes this with the surgery. He pulls the skin to recover the organ.
There was an example of that, or was that like
the Greeks would do that? What do you have, please? Okay. I already see. Props. The professor's here with props. Tikaris. This person will be cut off. What does it mean to cut off twice? Cut off in this world, cut off in the next world. I think we said that cut off in this world means that he dies young with karas, and karas in the next one means that he doesn't get the Elam Haba. Mikan Amar Rabbi Eliezer Hamidai. From here, Rabbi Eliezer Hamidai says, we're now going to quote the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Rabbi Eliezer Hamidai is not so common. Rabbi Eliezer Hamidai was the one that was the uncle of Bar Kokhba by the revolt. He was the one that was killed by Bar Kokhba because he thought he was whispering to the enemy. Anyway, Rebbe Lezer Medai in Pirkei Avos, he says, "Hamachalas HaKadoshim," someone that profanes the things that are holy, Amavazas Mayadais, or he shames the holidays. What does he do? He works on Chol Hamoed. Pretty strong. Ami for Bisa Shel Avram Avinu, or he annuls the covenant of Avram. That means the bris milah. Megan upon Matera, Shleik Halacha, or he interprets the Torah according to his own benefits. Vamal ben Pnei Chaver Barabim, or he shames the face of his friend in public, because every person has a tzelem elikim, it's an image of God. He shames him. He makes it go white. Even if he has Torah and good deeds, that's the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. He doesn't have a share in the world. Tani Yidach, we have another brisa. The word of Hashem Yishem. Someone that says that the Torah is not from heaven. Even if he says the whole Torah is from Shemayim. Yeah, the Torah is from Shemayim. However, there's one pasuk in there that Moshe said on his own. What about the last 8 pasukim? Zehu kidvar Hashem basa. This is the word of Hashem Yishems. Even if he says that this letter of the Torah, it could have been written without the vav, and he added the vav. It could have been without a yud, and it was added a yud. That extra yud or something, that's not from Hashem. Or mikal v'chaymer. Now this is interesting. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can do this. Just 1 second. Sorry. Just pause the recording for 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. So he says it's even this kal v'chaymer says if there's a kal v'chaymer, you see the interesting thing is that a kal v'chaymer doesn't have to be min hashemayim. Kal v'chaymer, you can do it on your own. He said there's 13 ways that the Torah could be studied. One of them is the kal v'chaymer, and the other ones need to come from tradition. But the kal v'chaymer person can do on his own. But even what a person does on his own, even what a future student is going to innovate, but even that comes from heaven. So if he says that this kal v'chaymer doesn't come from heaven, so that's also going under that category of dvar Hashem baza. Or migzeir shavazu, he says this verbal analogy isn't from heaven. Yeah, you with me? Did I say something different in the comments? Zoki dvar Hashem baza. This is Yishem, the word of Hashem. Tanya, start in a brisa. Hey, Reb Meir would say halayim Torah bein malamda. Someone studies Torah but he doesn't teach it. Zohu dvar Hashem baza. He's shaming the word of Hashem. Why? Because he doesn't feel it significant to share it. Reb Nasan Aimer kol mishein mashkiach al Mishnah. Someone that's not careful about the words of the Mishnah. What is he doing wrong? Maybe he's not considering that the Mishnah is the oral Torah that was given from Hashem to Moshe. Reb Neirai says, it's interesting because Reb Neirai is sometimes Reb Meir. Here, okay, here I have Reb Meir saying something else. Anyone that has the ability to study Torah, he doesn't study Torah. Regarding this, it says Kidavar Hashem Basa. This is when someone is wasting time from Torah. This is where the concept of bittul Torah comes in. Someone that's able to study and he doesn't study. Yeah. Rabbi Shmuel says Zeha Eved Avidus Kechavim. Shmuel argues on everyone. So all of these things, all these strict stringencies that you're saying, those are not the words of, that's not Kidvar Hashem Baza. Kidvar Hashem Baza is he worships idols. Because Hashem says a whole thing, not to worship idols. My mashma, where do you get this from? Tanid Bey Rabbi Shmuel, it was taught in the yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel, Kidvar Hashem Baza, Zamavaza Dibur. This is someone that shames the uttered word of Hashem. Shenamar Leila Moshe Misinai. The dibur that Hashem said to Moshe, what were the exact words? Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God. You shouldn't have any other gods. That's it. So Devar Hashem Baza, the words of Hashem are those two of the 10 commandments that Hashem actually spoke. Yeah, that's how Rabbi Shmuel learns it. Rabbi Shua ben Karchaimer, Shua ben Karcha. We always say that this is Rabbi Akiva's son. Anyone that studies Torah, but he doesn't do Chazara, he learns it once, he says that's enough. That's someone that he plows, but he doesn't harvest. He already put in all the hard work. The hard work is the first time you learn it. Afterwards, is you're just reaping the benefits. You already did all the hard work. Now you're just doing Chazara. He doesn't harvest it. So that's someone that he doesn't review. Anyone that studies Torah but forgets it, why does he forget it? Because he doesn't review. So then, this is similar to a woman that gives birth, but she buries the baby, maybe a stillborn or something. I mean, she went through all the difficulty of the pregnancy and the labor, all the hard part she did, and then she buries the son. So all the hard part of studying Torah, it's all working it out. How does it work and what all this that you already did. And then the person doesn't review. Rabbi Kiva Imer, Zemer b'chol yaim. There's probably a difference in the vowels here. How do you have it in the vowels? Zemer b'chol yaim. How does it say? Zamer b'chol yaim. Zemer b'chol yaim. Yeah, it's the same thing. Zemer b'chol yaim. Zemer b'chol yaim. Oh, really?
Sing every day.
I know in English. Both of them are Zamer. Zamer b'chol yaim. Zamer b'chol yaim. Okay. You have both also in the Hebrew. It's both the same vowels. Okay, this means that if someone reviews the Torah like a song that you can sing every day, so then in the world to come, it'll be a song for him. It'll be pleasant for him. Huh? Yeah. Keep saying it over to sing it, like we do with the Shas Mila. In the yeshiva, we study we have like a Aramaic dictionary that we just overlearn the words. We say it, all the words every day.
The dictionary has the notes.
No, we make it up. We try to keep it the same though. Okay. I'm Rabbi Tzak Baravidumi. So what Rabbi Akiva is saying is that you should study the Torah in a way of a song that you sing it every day, sing it over. Ashrei Yeshrei Ve'Sacharei. I'm Rabbi Yitzchak Baravidumi. Rabbi Yitzchak Baravidumi, he says, Mikra. What's this pasuk for this? Shenemar Nefesh Amal, a soul that toils. Amlalai, it toils for him. It goes back and works for him. And ki akafal of piu, because he puts a saddle over his mouth. One pshat is he puts it on like a saddle always stays on the donkey. What's this? Lishna Chrina? Okay, yeah. Hu amal b'makim zeh. He toils in this world, but and the Torah works for him somewhere else in the world to come. That it gives him the reward in the world to come. Here it says that in the world to come, that it gives him the reasons for the Torah. And what's the reason for this? Rashi says sha'akaf pihu al divrei Torah, because akaf instead of a saddle means he forced his mouth to repeat words of Torah. Amar Rabbi Lazar, kol adam lamal nivra. Every person was created to work. Shenemar. Is that also a slogan that comes from somewhere else, Professor? And was created to work. Okay. Any idea imlamal pen nivra, imlamal malacha nivra. I don't know what type of work it's referring to. Is it work as in recitation of working with the mouth, or does it mean actual work, working with the hands? We're doing work. Kishuaimer, when the pasuk says ki akafal pio, that he puts a saddle over his mouth, that must mean that the person was created to work with his mouth, the recitation. That's what he's working for. So I understand that he's meant to be working with his mouth, but I don't know what type of working with the mouth. Is it? I'm sorry, Naftali. You want to comment? So I don't know if it's working with the mouth with if it's saying Torah, or if it's saying other things like.
Yeah. Work on the map.
Over here, what else? What's the Mosicha? What else could it be besides for Torah? So there's other types of wisdoms that they're there. There's literature and there's language and there's, all that. Years ago, there was rhetoric. Oh, you mean not to talk? Oh, interesting. Uh-huh. When the pasuk says that this sefer Torah should not depart from your mouth, Torah never that a person was created to recite words of Torah. Behind the Rava, this is what Rava says, Kula Gufi, the entire body, Drupatki, is how do they translate over there? It's for the instruments of toil. What are the receptacles of? Okay. Okay. It will explain a minute. Toive ledezaki dehu drupke deiraisa. Happy is the one that uses these utensils for Torah. Okay. It's like a machine, I guess. Oh, they add in those words in bold or in. All right. Okay, till 10. So okay. Here's another pshat that drop the key, and the Rashi has a second interpretation that means a long vessel where you can put change into, and it's happy is the one that accumulates the words of Torah, and collects them together. Okay. Now it says v'noya fisha chasar leid. Someone that's promiscuous with a woman is lacking heart. This is someone that studies Torah but infrequently. He just a little here, a little there, not inconsistent. This is how does this work? This is like a person that lives with a woman that's not his wife. It's seldom, seldom, but it doesn't have the consistency as if it's a wife. Person should be connected to Torah as if from part of the family.
This person has nothing to show. If he was married, he would have a family and things to show for. The same thing in the Torah. We do it seldom. You're not having anything to show for.
We use the same Russian by the story where breaking up the fucking ripping the person apart. Doesn't that the same Russian there? Where the Rub said that everyone pulled their hands together.
Yeah. I don't know if the word there was the prakim. So they was gonna tear them apart like a
fish. The word was the prakim.
Oh yeah.
It's just what comes to my mind. But it was could be wrong.
Okay. Shenemar, as it says, Kinoim ki tishmerim bebitnacha. It is good when it's pleasant, when it's guarded in your stomach. When it's prepared together on your lips. Okay, that's saying the opposite. That's saying that when a person has it set, that designated, that the Torah is always prepared on his lips, that's like the Torah is his wife. Tanur taught in a brisa. This is also talking about someone that does avodah zarah b'mezid, intentionally worships idols. Soul that will do this with a raised hand. Menashe ben Chizkiah. This is referring to Menashe ben Chizkiah. This was the wicked son of King Chizkiah, that was also the king. That he would sit and expound on the on false interpretations of the Torah. Amar, he would say like this: Moshe didn't have to write. What's Moshe writing? That the sister of Leitan is Timnah. That's what he has to tell me. Some insignificant piece of information. With Timnah is Pilegesh. The Eliphaz and Timnah was a Pilegesh, was a concubine to Eliphaz. Eliphaz is Esav's son. Or another pasuk. Vayelech Reuven b'mei k'tzir chitim. That Reuven went out in the Dudan. Our school's going to say Dudan. Okay. Wonderful. I'm sorry. Okay. So why does the Torah have to tell me that he went out in the summer? Well, it has to tell me that he got the Dudaim, and that's how Rachel exchanged Yaakov with Leah, and Yisachar was born. I mean, that part of that story is significant. But the fact of the season that he went to get it, that's insignificant. That's what Menashe was saying. Yatza Baskel, a heavenly voice comes out from him. Ramalai says to Menashe, Teshev ba'achicha tedaber. Against your brother you speak. You sit and against your brother you speak. Bebeni mecha, with your mother's son, Titin Daifi. You say falsehood. Ela asisa v'charashti. This you made, and I was silent. Demisa eyes eya kamaycha. You were Demisa is also silent, and you will be like you. And will be like you. Pechicha ve'ercha leinecha. I will rebuke you and punish you in front of your eyes. I love him first, but Kabbalah. Regarding this, regarding him, it says in the Kabbalah means here in the prophets, it says, "Hey, whoa, Moshchei ha'avain bechavle yashav." Those that pull sin with ropes of falsehood, ka'avei sa'egla chata, like the ropes of a wagon. Is it egla a wagon or a calf? Translate it. Or a cart, a wagon. That's how thick is the sin, which means that it can't go away. Mike obviously agala. What does it mean? The rope thick like a cart. Rabasi says Yetzahara betchiladem l'chut shel kuvya. Originally, the Yetzahara is as thin as a spider web. At the end, it's as thick as the cables on a cart. The Asan Allah, once you, what is that? Brooklyn Bridge, right? Once you came to this, to discuss these psukim, what's that the pshat? Menashe has some questions. Why does the Torah need to go through these details? Why does it tell us that the sister of Leitan is Timnah? It's explaining that Timnah bas malachim have. Really, Timnah was a princess. The ksiv aluf Leitan aluf Timnah. As it says, the leader, the Leitan, the leader Timnah, and whenever it says aluf, it means it's a king without a crown. But that means that he's royalty, but he doesn't have his
next in line.
Yeah, something like that. Well, comes from a very important family. She wanted to convert to become a Jew. She comes to the Besdin back then of Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov. But like Kabluah, they didn't accept her. Right. Okay. She decides to be a concubine to Eliphaz, Esav's son. Amra, she said like this: better I should be a maidservant. Like a concubine is not an official wife. Better to be a maidservant in this by this nation. Not to be better than to be a wife in another. She's a pilegesh. Hagar. Is that what she said? I think she said Zevel Predaisav. She said something about the manure. The manure of Avram is better than the gold and silver, right? It was a different expression. So, okay, the manure of Avram's animals would be better than. Yeah. But they should have later Amalek. So Amalek comes out from them, and Tzarin Yisrael, and causes pain to the Jewish people. My time, what's the reason? Because they shouldn't have pushed her away. Anyone have an interpretation why they did push her away? Any notes over there? Why Taka did they? What was Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov thinking? And that's the reason to push her away. So we push them away from converting.
Otherwise, you couldn't have a mamzer is converted.
That's a mitzvah or a mamzer from a non-Jewish mamzer. Just
she's not a mamzer.
When she quits, she's not a mamzer. Why are they strict about
mamzer from a non-Jew? I thought they don't have Nisuin.
What am I looking at over here? 31. Oh my gosh, do you see that?
Oh yeah.
Jewish law rejects those who wish to convert in order to marry a Jew. She just wanted to marry a Jew. That's why they rejected her. Yeah, but then what comes out is we get punished when we push someone away that wants to marry a Jew. You hear that? That's quite a statement.
So we need to take them and explain how good you use it, etc., and then see if they still
Right.
want.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
But there's the other side also to it, because if they do conversion without like being sincere, and they just did it just to get married, if the relationship doesn't work out, then what happens with those kids?
And then they disappear.
It's crazy.
Maybe that's what Avram was concerned, that maybe they won't. Maybe she won't stay married, and then they leave the religion.
But the kids are Jewish.
I understand.
Even worse, the kids are Jewish, and then they're gonna have a goyish stepfather.
This is one of these things. It's sort of like irresolvable, because if we have a good explanation why Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov didn't convert her, so then we want to know, so why do they get punished? And if there's a reason why they're being punished, that means they should have converted her. Then we're going to go back and we're going to ask, so why Taka didn't they? So it's like one of these irresolvable.
But why do we end up getting punished? That's how we start with the question, and then we answer with they getting punished, this getting punished. But the question was, why did we get punished later on?
Because we're one nation. One nation.
Yeah.
But here it turns out that at the end she was sincere. It looks like she
Right.
was sincere. So maybe that's what.
Right.
All the more reason why she should punish.
We had a woman that wanted to convert, but she previously had wasn't a job, but she had made money doing some work, very not Jewish work, and the question of such a woman, if we could convert her. We asked at that time. Rav Yosef's son was here. Again, it was Rabbi David Yosef, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef. One of the. I think it was Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef. He was here. We asked him. He thought that it was fine. He said, "By what they did before, it's not."
This is
Surprising, but anyway. Okay. But yeah, that's I already did the conversion. Everything else was perfect. It's just she had in her history, she had this yeah. Anyway. Vayelech Reuven make
She
Tir
wasn't
Chitim.
doing it anymore.
It was Reuven went in the harvest. Amar Rava Bar Yitzchak, Amar Rava Bar Yitzchak's name. What was going that? Well, why does it have to mention? This is Menashe's question. Why does it have to say what season Reuven went to get the dudaim, the mandrakes? That's what it is.
Mandrakes. Yeah.
Mikan L'Tzadikim. This teaches us that the righteous people shem pashnim b'diem begezel, that they don't stretch out their hands, they don't touch anything that's stolen. So that's why it has to say that he went in the summer when, after the harvest, when everything there was already hefker. He found mandrakes in the field. My dudaim. What are dudaim? Amar Rav. Rav says it's yavruche, mandrakes. No, I don't know what yavruche is. I'm just kidding. They don't probably know either, right? Do they? Do they say what yavruche is? Rashi doesn't know what it is. Oh yeah, Steinle says it's an Arabic word for mandrakes. Okay, and Levi Amar Sigli. Levi says it's jasmine. Right? Do they say that? Do they say Sigli is jasmine? What is it? Violets. Okay. And Rabbi Yonasan Amar Savisky. What do they say that is? Spice. My friend had a Yiddish Mishnayos. He would learn 18 chapters of Mishnayos a day, and they would finish every month the whole Mishnayos. But they said, "How do you do this?" You know him, the Heshi. So how do you do? He said, "Oh, the Mishnayos is great." They don't translate anything. They say whenever it comes to any of these terms, I'm in gavix, a type of herb, a type of grass, just something. That way you can move quickly. There's no. Okay. Amar Alexandri. Alexandri says, "Kalesik Bater Lishma." Anyone that studies Torah for its own sake, Mesim Shalom B'Pamalia Shamayla Pamalia Shalmata. He brings peace to the family above and the family below. It means in the heavens and down here. Shenemar says in the pasuk, "Yechazik b'mauzi." He will grab the strength. Yasa Shalomli makes peace for me. Shalom Yasali, peace he makes for me. Yasa Shalomli, Shalom Yasali. Now, what is the strength? The strength is Torah. Someone that studies Torah makes peace above and he makes peace below. Two times it says peace he makes. Rav says, Kilabana Palchin, Shamayla V'Shalmata. It's if he builds a palace above and a palace below. I will put my words in your mouth. And by the shade of my hands I will cover you. And to establish the heavens, to make a foundation for the earth, which means the heavens and the earth are being made by a person that puts the Torah into his mouth, puts Torah Lishma. Levi says, Af Makar Vesagula, bringing Mashiach, study Torah Lishma, brings the redemption. Shnema V'leima L'tzion Amiyata, to say to Tzion, you're my nation. Amarish Lakish says, anyone that teaches his friend's son, thank you, his friend's son, Torah Malal of Akasav, the Torah considers it kilo aso as if he made him. Sounds like as if he gave birth to him, right? Shnema, as it says, speaks about Abraham and Sarah, that they traveled and they took with them the souls that they made in Haran. What does it mean, the souls of the Torah, the people that they taught Torah to? They brought them with them. Rabbi Elazar, it says Rabbi Elazar, it's adjusted to Rabbi Elazar. He says, Kilo Asan L'Debrei Torah. It's as if he made the Torah. How do you make the Torah? Well, it says, Shnemar, Ushmartim Estiver Abisazais. You should teach. Shmartim means to guard, but it means to teach. You should teach these words of the covenant. And you will make them. How do you make the Torah? Is that a good thing? The pshat is that when you teach it, you clarify it. So it becomes clearer by your way you're teaching it. Yeah. Okay. Rabba Amar Kilo Asan La'atzmai, as if he made himself. Because you recreate yourself, reborn. You recreate yourself to a new level through teaching Torah. Amar Rabavo says, anyone that forces his friend to do a mitzvah, the Torah considers it as if he made him. The staff with which you hit the river. Now, this is talking about whose staff was this? This was Moshe's staff, but Moshe did not hit the river. Remember, Aaron had to do it. So did Moshe hit the river? It was Aaron that hit the river. If you force or convince someone else to do a mitzvah, it's as if you did it. It's a big encouragement from Mitzrayim, right? Shliach. Shliach is different. I'm not saying the Rebbe shluchim. I mean, a shliach means that someone is doing something on your behalf. Here, the person is not doing it on his behalf, doing it for himself. Nevertheless, it goes back to the person that told him to do it. Okay. The next part of the Gemara, we're now going to explain the word apikoros. Now, apikoros, really, there's a Greek philosopher, Epicurean, that the word apikoros probably comes from. Right? Epicurean. Just
like the restaurant.
Yeah. Epicurean means the pursuit of his philosophy was to pursue pleasure. That the gashmis is very important, physical world. So I think he had something a lot deeper than that. But whatever the case is, whatever depth he had to his philosophy. So the apikoros here is we translated before that it means hefker. He says, I'm not obliged to keep the Torah. Anyway, let's see. Whatever it is, the sages here are going to discuss how broad we can make this this category. Rav and Rab Chanina Amri Tavayu. Rav and Rab Chanina would say that besides an apikoros being an apikoros, but also an apikoros would also include zam avasa talmid chacham, someone that shames the Torah, the Torah sages. What do they know? That's so it disregards the teachings of the Torah. This is not apikoros. This is someone not that he disregards or shames sages. He shames his friend in front of the sages. Whoa. Now, this is less of an issue, but it's still, he doesn't have the respect of the sages that he's willing to do this in front of them.
Don't we have a rule anyone that's about to pressing the rubbing?
Yeah, but this is different. The rabbim over there doesn't have to be the sages. No, this is someone in front of the sages. There was someone that was walking on Shabbos in the park. The rabbi was coming, person that was walking, smoking a cigarette. And the rabbi came and put the cigarette behind. So when someone told the rabbi, he was smoking, the rabbi said, yeah, but he was hiding it. There's a certain level of respect. Okay. So Bishleim Lamanda Amar.
He was doing what's worse.
What, to hide it?
No, snitching on his friend.
To snitch. To snitch. Okay. Bishleim, yeah, sure. Snitches get stitched. Bishleim Lamanda Amar Vazachaver B'fnei Talmid Chacham. Because what's going on in this Gemara here is that we have two terms. We have an apikoros, and we also have megalapanim baterish like halacha. So what we want to say is like this. One of them is much worse. Megalapanim baterish like halacha is worse. So if we have machlekes here, what an apikoros is. Either he shames the Torah sage or he shames his friend in front of the Torah sage. So the Gemara says that if the apikoros is someone that shames his friend in front of the Torah sage, so then that's so then what comes out is what's worse than that Mevazat Talmid Chacham Atzma, someone that shames the sage himself, that would be a Megalapanim Bater Shalei Kalacha Abi. That would be someone that interprets the Torah against the real interpretation. That would bring him to the next level up, the more aggressive, overt transgression. Ella, but according to the other opinion, if Apikaris Havi, according to the opinion that says that someone that shames the Torah sage himself, so then he's the Apikaris. So Megalapanim Batera Kagamai. So what's worse than that? How do we have what's the next level of Megalapanim Batera? Because the worst one was already the Apikaris. It says Kagain Menashe ben Chizkiah. That's someone that actually interprets the Torah for his own, and like we said, Menashe ben Chizkiah was saying, why does it need to say this? Why does it need to say that? Some taught the same comparison of how we're trying to get one step up for each one, but they said it on the next level, on the Seifa. It says that someone that interprets the Torah against its real interpretation, Rav Chanina say that would also include someone that shames the sage. Rishua ben Levi Amri, Rishua ben Levi say, yes, that's someone that shames his friend in front of the sage. Well, now we have the same problem, but just the opposite. If we say that someone that shames the Torah sage himself, so that's Megalapanim Batera. So then good. Then what would be Mevaze Chaver b'fnei Talmid Chacham? Then someone that shames his friend in front of the sage, who would he be? That would be the Apikaris. Okay, good. Everything fits. We have a category for everyone. But if you say that shaming your friend in front of the Torah sage is the Megalapanim Batera, so then Apikaris could go my. What's less? What is going to be less than that? We put the lesser one in the upper category. So now what's going to be in the lesser category? The Apikaris. Rav Yosef Kagain Hani Damri. It's like those people that say, Maya Hanulan Rabbanan. What do these rabbis do for us? What good do they do? Who needs them? All they do is they sit all day on the bench. And they wear out a bench, right? Because they had this story with this person. He sat for 40 years until the bench. You could see his the seat, in the bench. So that's what they do. They wear out a bench. The do Kari, they read for themselves. They read Torah for themselves. The do Tani, they study the Mishnayos for themselves. They don't do anything for us. What's his name? Ben Gurion. He didn't make the draft on the Yeshiva Bachar. You ever heard this? You know why? Because he read a poem from Chaim Nachman Bialik about the Yeshiva Bachar. No, that's Yehuda Levi. He read the poem about the Yeshiva Bachar, and it was like, it says, we can't disturb that. That has to be kept pristine. So he didn't make the draft. And that was a big deal, the draft. Yeshiva Bachar, it's a big deal. Anyway, someone just sent me an article about what an Orthodox student represents in the university. Did you see this? It's unbelievable. It's saying that there's no representation of religious observance that's accepted by the non-Jews. The Christian religion, the non-Jews, they just laugh at it. They say, yeah, right. Like really, that's what happened. Like that's how. And then there's a big emphasis on Gehenna, and they don't buy it. So it really is insignificant. But then the Jew comes in. He's just not emphasizing, Gan Eden, and we just, how come you don't eat with us? How come you don't dress like us? This is because I'm a religious person. So the representation of religion is really only with the Orthodox Jews. Anyway, okay, that's nothing to do with the rabbis.
Also, like it's a lifestyle. The idol worshiping thing, like they don't look any different. They all look the same.
Right. Also, well, that's also the appearance, right? Right, in the dress, even.
That's interesting, you're saying that the Goyim don't recognize or accept any of the Orthodox manners, etc. It's only amongst the other Orthodox Jews that
I think that what the Jew represents, what this person was writing, what the Jew represents to the secular world in the universities, is he represents what religion is. It's,
oh yeah,
right.
yeah. That's why the Nazis because they represent religion, which represented God, which meant that Mashma wasn't head caller and all the what's going to happen, and therefore you got to get rid of it.
Okay, so Rabbi Yosef is saying, who's going to be the Apikairis? This is someone that says, what do the rabbis do for us? They just wear out the bench. Amalei Abaya, Abaya says, that's not so little. I'm Megalapatanam Namihu. He is Megalapatanam Batari. Now you raise, this is even is worse than that. He's interpreting the Torah. He goes into that worst category. The Tzivim Le Brisi, Yom V'Layla, Tukei Shemayim V'Aretz Le'Samti. If not for my covenant, day and night, then the statutes of the heaven and earth I won't place. That means the whole world only exists because of the Torah study. And if he says what do the sages do for us, then he's denying everything. Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Mihacha Namishma Mina. We learn it also from here. Shenemar B'Nasasi L'Chalamakim Ba'Avuram. It says by Sidoim, Avram was asking that if there would be a certain amount of righteous people in Sodom, would you save the city? He says, yeah. So you see, the world is saved because of a few righteous people. Here it's putting together the Torah sage with the righteous tzaddikim. Right? Someone to be a real Talmud Chacham has to be a tzaddik also. Ela Kagain, rather, what are we talking about? Who is going to be the Apikairis? If someone that shames his friend in front of the Talmud Chacham is the Megalapanim Batayra. So what's the step down? Okay, in Yosef Kami Rabbi. Rather, a student sitting in front of his teacher. And they come up with a teaching that comes from another source in another topic. Ramar, and the student says, Hachi Amrinan Hasam, this is what we said back then when we studied that. Layamar Hachi Amamar, he doesn't say this is how the teacher taught it. That little lack of respect that he has, he says this is what we explained it, instead of saying this is how the master explained it. So that's the Apikairos. Rabba says, Gain Hani de Benyamin Asya. Rather, the Apikairos is similar to the people that come from the house of Dr. Benjamin. The Amri, what do they say? What does Dr. Benjamin say? Whatever did the sages do for us? What did the rabbis do for us ever? In those books, the rabbi slept late. Remember that Rabbi Small or whatever it is.
Remember the books.
Yeah, the book. In there, he's a conservative rabbi, but it's like these novels. It's not worthwhile reading. But in there it describes.
It's great stories.
It describes. It was just entertainment. It describes the conflict that the community is always trying to get rid of the rabbi, and he's barely hanging on. Keep voting him, like just about to vote him out, and the guy that last person that's going to do the vote doesn't show up. Barely manages to. Anyway, this is the classic comment. What do the rabbis ever do for us? What do he sits in his study and this in a sermon on Yom Kippur? Like that's what we need. That's what we're paying a salary. Okay, Leishar Lanorva. Did they ever allow the raven to permit the raven? It's a non-kosher bird. They're not. There's no innovations. And did they forbid the dove? So they're doing nothing. Rava Kiavimaisi Trefa the baby Binyamin Kamei. Rava says when Rava would have an animal that came from the house of Binyamin, Dr. Binyamin would come to him. So Kiavichosi Beitaimal Atera, if he would see that he could be matir, Amalahu, he would say, look, I'm permitting for you a raven. This is sort of like cynical, the way he he comments back to them, and if he would say that it's prohibited, he would say, see, I'm forbidding for you the dove. They were making up, we're being creative. Rav Papa says, Rav Papa says someone that uses the term, a disrespectful word, those rabbis. Today it would be those guys, you guys,
You people.
you people.
Still very sensitive.
Rav Papa Ishtalev Amar Kagain Hani Rabbanan Visibatanis. Rav Papa one time he forgot and he used the term those rabbis and he fasted because of that. Levi Bar Shmuel Rav Huna Bar Chia become Sakni Mitpaches Sifrei Debei Rav Yehuda. Levi Bar Shmuel and Rav Huna Bar Chia were fixing the mantles of the mantle, the Torah covers of the scrolls that were in the house of Rabbi Yehuda. These are students of Rabbi Yehuda. Kimata Megillas Esther, when they came to the scroll of Megillas Esther, Megillas Esther lay by mitpachas. The Megillas Esther doesn't need a. They said it as a question. Does the Megillas Esther really need a cover? Because there's a machlekes in the Gemara Megillah. Megillas Esther's metamas yadayim. Is it really part of the? Is it really part of the canon? Maybe it doesn't. The rule is that anything that's part of the Torah, if you touch it, it makes the hands contaminated. That was the institution of the sages that people used to keep the truma in the together with the scrolls because they didn't want anyone to touch the truma and make it impure. So they would keep with the scrolls; it was going to be pure. The mice would come and they would eat the grain from the truma and would also eat the scrolls. So they made a decree that the scrolls are contaminated themselves. So you can't keep the truma next to the scrolls. So anything that's considered a holy scroll, part of the Torah, contaminates the hands. But now there's a discussion: was Megillas Esther included in that? You learned this Gemara. So the students of Rav Huna, of Rav Yehuda, they said we don't have to make a cover for the Megillah because remember what daf? Daf Zion. So we don't have to make a cover for the Megillah because it doesn't contaminate. Amalahu. He said to them, the way you're doing this is you're contradicting the teachings. That's apikursis to contradict the teacher. Because Rav Yehuda held that it is, and they just put it as a question like, does it really need it? And he held that he holds that it does need it. If they wanted to ask, they could have asked him, does it need? But they didn't say it like that. They the tone that they said it was, does it really need? Rav Nachman says, this is someone that calls his teacher by his name. Rabbi Yechanan says, why was Gehazi punished? Gehazi ended up with Saras, right? Because he calls his teacher by his name. He did other things wrong. It's interesting that this is why he gets slack, right? Gets they're criticizing this. Called his teacher by his name. Gehazi says, my master king. This is the woman and this is the son that Elisha revived. He didn't say my master revived. It says Elisha revived. Yosef Rabbi Yomi Kamed Rabbi Zera Rabbi Yosef Bekamer. Rabbi Yomi is sitting in front of Rabbi Zera and he was sitting and saying. Now, when he's sitting and saying, is that Rabbi Yomi saying or is that Rabbi Zera saying? Who's about to talk? Rabbi Yomi is about to talk.
It says when he once said if he rose out with respect to his teacher, he was one that was sitting.
Okay, so
Requested the teacher permission to speak. So
okay, Rabbi Yomi is speaking. Okay. Hashem in the future is going to make a stream come out of the Holy of Holies, stream of water. But Allah of Kalmina Megadim, and next to it are going to grow all types of delicacies. And on the stream will arise on it. Oh, here it comes. Will come on this side and that side. All the fruit trees. La Yibal Aleyo, its leaves will not wither. Layasam period, its fruit will not stop. The chadash b'yavakir will give out fruit every month. Because the waters they come out from the holiest. Its fruit will be edible. And its leaves will be medicinal.
Right.
So here, the professor brought for us the moringa.
That's the leaf.
The
That's
leaves
medicinal.
are medicinal.
Here's the fruit. This is what, if it's green, you can still cook it. When it dries up, it looks like this. It's a triangular
And here's the fruit.
pod.
The
The fruit?
The only thing I have to differ with
What?
is that I don't think it's a fruit. I think all of this is all medicinal.
No, okay, but this, there's a professor from India, chairman of the chemistry department, he saw this tree. He said, that's the fruit that we eat. So I said, what's the recipe? He says, oh, my wife. Whereas when this is soft and green, then you boil it as a fruit. When it dries up, it opens up. That's where you get the seeds, which people eat also. But not with good.
I'll tell you, if that's the case, here's the seeds.
This is the fruit, and this is the leaf.
There's the seeds are inside. But
You're gonna show the people the leaf.
and the leaf,
The healthy leaf. That's what's the medicine.
and yeah, there's little flowers there.
It's edible also.
Now, the halachic significance of this is that if it is a fruit, then you'd have to wait 3 years. Wait 3 years to eat it. But because I don't think it is a fruit, I think it's just medicinal. I don't think you have to wait 3 years.
So the leaves you could eat even in
No.
the first year. Wait 3 years for the leaf. It's not a fruit. It's a medicine.
I don't remember what the rule is, but if it's not a fruit tree at all, and if it's just and everything, there's no such thing as weeds, right? Everything has some herbal significance.
Or is it a fruit herbal significance, or is it?
It has to be a fruit to be arla.
Because there are trees that.
It's a typical food that you would eat. Anyway, okay.
What's the verdict?
I think it's medicinal. I can't imagine people like eating that. Like, I eat an apple a day, a banana. This. If you eat this, it's because someone told you that it's healthy. It's like it's not because it's
Appetizing.
It's like people take a vitamin every day, a multivitamin. It's not food. It's someone told you that it's good for you. Remember the cod liver oil? No one's eating that. Your mother just said it's good for you.
You know where that came from? That when people were sick, when they checked blood tests for iron levels, the iron levels were low. So they said cod liver oil has a lot of iron. So give a lot of that. All of a sudden, when they got well, the iron was high. So they attributed it all to cod liver oil. The truth was, when a person is sick, the body sequesters the iron levels. So if you check for iron, you get a low level. So it was just temporal association that one had nothing to do with the other.
Nice marketing.
The people didn't realize.
Okay. So we said about the leaves that are coming out. Okay, yeah. No, but nevertheless, this is a if anyone wants the tree, medicinal, you come to the professor, I'll give you a plant. Okay. And it does have all the amino acids and all the proteins and all, full protein. If you eat the leaves of this.
What's it called?
Moringa. It's called the horseradish.
I'd rather do
That's a meringue.
Okay. No, but you could eat the leaves. You would say hadam probably on it for shackle.
I mean, the leaf or the flowers.
Okay. So the fruit comes out. So this elderly man was there. He said, Yasher, the way you're teaching is correct. Even Rabbi Yochanan speaks about it. It says that. Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah or Rabbi Zera. Rabbi Yirmiyah says to Rabbi Zera, that looks like heretical. Amalei, it's because he's saying that I have a support from what you said from Rabbi Yochanan. He's saying like what you said is not enough. I need a Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan also says that Rabbi Yochanan agrees with you. Amalei hasiyo k'masayalach. It's not theoretical. He's giving you support. If you want to hear something that's heretical, that's the following. Rabbi Yochanan was teaching. This is what you got to bring in next props. Try to bring this one in. Hashem in the future is going to take precious stones, pearls, 30 by 30 amas. He's going to carve out of them 10 by 20, a hole. And it's going to put it on the gates of Yerushalayim. Your windows will be made out of kadkaid, which is a precious stone. And your gates, lavnei ektach, will be stones of ektach. Will be okay, fine. This is an interpretation that Rabbi Yochanan gave. Talmud. One of the students laughed at him. You can't even find a pearl the size of an egg. Now you tell me you're going to find a pearl the size of 30 amas by 30 amas? Massive pearls. You're going to carve out of it. The Yomim, days went by. I think the student was on the sea, and his boat went out. Chazin Malachi Asharis out there on the sea. He saw. He was hallucinating. I'm going to be the.
He ate moringa seeds.
Too many overdose on moringa.
So anyway, he has a vision. He sees the angels, the Kamanasri Avanim Tevis Margalis, that they're Menasri. Does that mean carving? Cutting, sawing. The precious stones and pearls. Amalahu, he says, Hani Laman, what are these for? Amri, they said, Hashem's going to put them on the gates of Yerushalayim. Yadash Kimel Rabbi Yochanan, when he came back to Rabbi Yochanan, Yosef Kadarish, that he was teaching, Amalei, Rabbi, Droish, Lechana Lidroish. Teach, and you should continue to teach. Kshem Shamarta Kachrisi, I actually saw that in my in a vision, or maybe it wasn't a vision, maybe he saw it when he was out there on the sea. Amalei Reika says, you empty one. Amalei Reisa Layamant, if you didn't see it, you wouldn't believe me. Malagli Galdivre Chachamat, you're laughing at the words of the sages. Yav Be'ene Vasagal Shal, as he looked at him, became a heap of bones. Which mamzer? You said Reika? By which case?
When he spoke bad about the lady to the rabbi, the rabbi answered it. I think it was the same thing. You empty one, like you're looking at her, and she was so nice.
I don't remember that expression, Reika. Could be.
I remember the expression. I don't remember where.
I remember the Reika. It was in Nazar. It was in Nazar, I think. Okay. Next, the Gemara has a question on this. Meisvei. When I ask, I will lead you with a high stature. You'll be 200 amas tall. Twice the size of Adam Rishon. You'll be 100 amas. Corresponding to the Heichal, which is the length of the Heichal. Rashi goes through how the Heichal length is 100 amas. Shenemar asher banenu kinetiya migudalim. How do they translate that? Asher banenu kinetiya migudalim b'neirayim. They say our sons are plants that are growing tall in their youth. B'neisenu, our daughters, kuzavius mechutavis tabnes Heichal. Are the what? Like the cornerstones of the fashion of the Heichal, which means they're going to be as tall as the Heichal. Now, the question that the Gemara is asking is, Rabbi Yochanan said that the gates of Yerushalayim are going to be 20 amas. Right? Here we say that the people in the future are going to be 200 amas tall. How are they going to get through the gates if they're 200 amas and this is only 20 amas? You come Rabbi Yochanan. Lekavi the Bezika. The Gemara answers that Rabbi Yechon was talking about the windows that were used to get light, not the doorways. So the windows could be that size. The doorways were going to be much bigger.
The last one. I ask you a question about that. The guy who traveled and he saw this thing. He came back and he said that to his teacher, and then he began deep bones. Well, isn't it to his credit that he admitted that you were right, as opposed to being
Right.
zapped?
Right. But he was supposed to accept it, whether he
They're
saw it or
pliable
not.
or not.
Right,
So for that, he gets.
When people say, this I'll agree to because that I saw, but that I'm not going to agree to because that I don't know about.
So,
What does it mean that the leaves are going to be medicinal? Okay, now this you have to put this to the test, Professor. They discussed this. The medicinal part of the leaves was lahater peshel maila, to make someone mute, begin to speak. Chadam lahater peshel mata, to make someone barren, have children. Do you have that? Any proof for that? Does it come with on the label?
We're working on it.
no, there is a scientific article I read.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, it's a big country, right? And there's a study of moringa in the different tribes. In this tribe, it's good for obesity. In this tribe, it's good for malaria. So
it's like it could fix all different types of problems. Itmar, we'll see that in a minute. Itmar was stated, Chizkiya malahat pe'ilmin. Chizkiya, Itmar Nami, I guess. It was also stated, Chizkiya says that it can make mute people speak. That it can open the womb of barren women. Rabbi Yochanan Amar L'Tshufa Mamish says it heals all ills. It's moringa. Some people we used to say it's Tylenol. Okay,
yeah, you really did.
That's what when what do you do when just take a Tylenol? Okay, my L'Tshufa. What does it mean, L'Tshufa? It makes handsome the people that speak, the sages. Apparently, the sages were not always handsome, and this will make them handsome. Anyone that darkens his face, words of Torah in this world, darkens his face. Why is it called? Why is it someone studying darkening his face? Maybe because of the ink that's on the pages. It ends up looking dark. Maybe because he has to sit and not get sunlight or something, but then it would make his face white, not dark. Shenemar Mareu Kalavanan, it's in the end Hashem will make him shine, his countenance shine in the world to come. Mareu Kalavanan Bachur Karasim. His appearance will be like white, choice white cedars. Amrab Tanchum Bar Chaniloi Kalamar Basmal Divrei Torah, birch, white birch. Says anyone that starves himself, the words of Torah in this world, must be what does it starve himself? Because he pushes off his meals, because he's busy studying. So Hashem will make him satisfied in the world to come. They'll quench with the fat his house, and they'll be given to drink from the river of your Eden. Kesser Abdimi, when Abdimi came, he said, Abdimi came from Eretz Yisrael. Said, "Asa Kadosh Baruch Hu, Lidin Chal Tzadik V'Tzadik Mala Yomsai." Hashem is going to give to every tzaddik a fistful. Shenemar Baruch Hashem Yom Yom Yamas Lanu Akel Yisros Yimsela. Blessed is Hashem every day. Yamas Lanu. He gives us big portions. Hashem is our salvation forever. Amalei Abaya. Abaya said to Rav Dimi, Hashem is going to give us a fistful. How could you, who can measure? Shalai means a fist or a foot? A fist?
Hollows of his hand.
Yeah, hollows of his hand.
The hollow. Who can measure with the hollow of his hand water? Shalai means the hollow of his hand. Because we had this somewhere else. and we translate it as his
He's just,
feet.
God's hand.
What does he do with the sky?
And gauge the sky.
Gauge. Gauges the sky with the zeres. Zeres means the from here to here, or some say from here to here. So if Hashem's fistful is the entire world, so how's he going to be able to give to the righteous a fistful? Give them the whole world. How are they going to contain it in little containers? My time he says, Rabdimi says to Abaya, how come you don't study more Agadata? You're not used to this type of thing. Because we said in the West, the name of Rava Bar Mari, Hashem in the future is going to give is going to give him 310 worlds to make those that love him to bequeath to them substance, yesh, right? To say him in their storage houses, Amali, I will fill. Now, yesh, the word yesh is shin yud, the gematria tlasmei v'esramavi. It's 310. So everyone's going to get 310 worlds. Now you're worried about them getting a fistful? It's just one world. It's another world. Big deal. Tanya was taught in a brayso of Meiraim b'min dashad maided light. The way a person measures, that's how they measure for him back. Ksiv b'sasa b'shalcha terivena. With your measurements, you'll be punished. As we sent them out, you'll be punished. Let's talk about Egypt. Amar Rabbi Yeshua. Yeshua says, "Is that what you're going to say? That a person gives a fistful to a poor person in this world, Hashem's going to give him a fistful in the world to come. But the whole heavens is just from here to here in Hashem's hands. How can you give him a fistful? It's going to be too much for him to bear. It's going to be overwhelming." He says, and you don't say this. What's bigger, the measurement of positive or the measurement of negative? So the measurement of positive is better, is bigger. Commanded the heavens above, and he opened the gates of the heavens, and he rained down on them the man. When it came to the punishments, it says, he opened the windows, not the doors, not the gates, but the windows. So what's bigger? The windows or the doors? The doors are bigger, which means that the positive, the reward, when the man came down, that was much more. And they will go out and see the dead bodies of the people that rebelled, that the worms will not die, their fire will not be extinguished, and there'll be a disgrace for all flesh. 1 second. How is their fire not going out? A person in this world puts his hand into the fire, his hand gets burnt, his finger gets burnt, and that's it. It gets burnt. So burnt means it's burnt. There's nothing left. It says now it's saying that the fire is never going to be extinguished. Rather, you have to explain it like this: Hashem is going to give them the strength to be able to endure their punishment. Notice it's not going to get burnt off. The punishment is going to continue. So Hashem's going to give the tzaddikim the strength to endure the reward. The reward's going to be so great, but they're going to need strength to endure it. It's going to be so good. Okay. Kiva says, also someone that reads the Apocrypha, the books of the Apocrypha, the books that are not part of the Torah. Tana was taught in the Brayso B'Sifrei Tzedukim. This is referring to also, and includes also the books of the Tzedukim. Yeah, people that didn't believe in the Rabbanon, or they didn't believe in the world to come. They had their own interpretation. Rabbi Yosef says, "B'Sefer Ben Sira Nam Yasal Mikra." You can't read the book of Ben Sira. You know what it's called in English? I think Ecclesiastes or something. Not Ecclesiastes. That's Keheles. This is Ecclesiastes or something. There's another. Okay. Amalei Abaya. Abaya says, "My time. What's wrong with the book of Ben Sira? Maybe it's because it says there, Leitintish gilden amiyudne. Don't skin a fish from the back, from its ears. Leitezel mashche lechavla, because you don't want to damage the flesh. Elatzalia sebenu, rather, first you should roast it in a fire. Ve'echel beitartin gritzin, and you'll eat it with, what is gritzin? With toast? Dude, with bread. Now, he says like this, Imi pashte, if this is literally that how not to ruin the fish, so beraisa that's not a problem. And the Torah also says, don't destroy a tree. Al tashchis, shouldn't destroy it. Imidrasha, if it's coming to teach me, imidrasha, it's coming to teach me, figurative teaching. So then the level shleikadarka, they shouldn't have atypical relations from the back. So that's also significant that the person shouldn't do that. So why are you telling me not to read the book of Ben Sira? If it's literal, that's fine, and if it's figurative, it's also important teaching. Elamishum diksiv basla avia, rather because it says that a daughter to the father, matmuna shav, is a false treasure. Bepachta, because he's afraid liyishim balayla. He can't sleep at night because he's nervous about her. Katnusa, what is he nervous about? What's he worried? When she's young, shematispat, maybe she'll be seduced. But Narusa, when she's older, shematisna, maybe she's going to be act on her own business. Bagra, when she gets older, shemaletinas, maybe she'll never get married. Nisas, when she gets married, shemalelabanim, maybe she's going to be barren. Iskina, when she gets old, shematasik shaf, maybe she's going to do magic, going to get into alternative ways of whatever magic does. Okay, the Gemara says that's the problem. That's why you shouldn't read Ben Sira. The rabbis also say this. The world can't exist without males. And also can't exist without females. However, but happy is the one that his sons are male. And what was the one that his children are female? He has to worry about them. Okay, so that can't be a problem with Ben Sira. We're looking for what's wrong with Ben Sira, why you're not supposed to read it. Rather, don't put worries in your heart. The Gavri govern Katel Davia, because the greatest of men worries have killed. It says that's the problem. It says if a person has worry in his heart, he should remove it. It's machlekes over here. Rav says that you remove it from your mind, just don't think about it. Other one says you should talk about it. You should go to therapy. Okay, so it can't be. That's the problem with Ben Sira, because the sages have the same thing. And it's pasuk in Mishlei. It says you shouldn't have a lot of people in your house. And don't bring everyone into your house. It shouldn't be a Grand Central Station. But Rebbe said this. The person should not have a lot of guests in his house. That a man of friends ends up quarreling. They end up right. Rather, it must be because it's written Zaldakan Korteman. Someone that has a very thin beard. This is in Ben Sira. Korteman is a very sharp mind. Avdakan, a very thick beard. Sachsan is a fool. The nafach bekise, if he has foam in his cup, leitzachi. That means he's really not thirsty. Omar, he says, lachma. Oh, the nafach bekise.
He gets rid of it, so
he blows it away. Oh, really? Oh, it blows away. Blows away the foam. The nafach is low.
Yeah.
It's in your mustache.
If someone says, with what should I eat the bread with? So you can just give him bread. So he said, lachma seveni, take the bread away, because obviously he's not hungry, because he needs something to eat the bread with. Manda isle ma'avarta bedikna, someone that has a passage through his beard, means his beard is like in two parts. Kuli alma la no one will be able to compete with him because he's very conniving. Okay, so all of these statements are all nonsense, and so now we found the reason why you can't read Ben Sira, because it has a bunch of nonsense in it. Rav Yosef says, okay. However, however, there are some good things in there that you can read. Isha Taiva, a good wife, Matana Taiva is a good gift. Bechik, Kim Tinasin is given into someone that's God fearing. Isha Ra, a bad wife, Taras Labaila is like leprosy to the husband. Maita Kante, what should you do with the bad wife? You divorce her, and heal from the leprosy. Isha Yafa, a good wife, Ashri Baila, happy is their husband. Mispra Yamav Keflayim. He has the amount of his days is doubled. Rashi says it's not really doubled. It's just that it's as if it's doubled because he has so much enjoyment. You should hide your eyes from a woman of charm. Maybe you'll get caught in her net, her trap. Al tete baila. Don't go to her husband to drink with him wine and beer. Because with the image of a beautiful woman, many have become corrupted. And it's immense the amount of people she's killed. Many are the wounds of the peddler, because they bring to Dvar Erva. Because the peddler goes into the house and sells things to the woman, it becomes inappropriate behavior. Like a spark, it awakens the coal. Like a chicken coop, like filled with birds. So their house is filled with deceit. Is that the end of this? Okay. You should keep a lot of people out of your house. And don't bring them into your house. This is what we learned before, right? However, many people you should have many acquaintances, but that doesn't mean you bring them home. And you should reveal your secrets only to 1 out of 1,000. That's the ratio. There goes social media. There goes that. It says, reveal your secrets to 1,000. Only keep it, only hide it from 1. The one guy that's not on social media. Even from the person that lays with you at your chest, you should guard your mouth, even to your wife. You have to watch what you say. Don't be concerned about tomorrow's anguish. Because you don't know what's going to give birth. You don't know. You don't know what's going to give birth. Oh, Teda, actually. It's a mistake here. It's supposed to be Teda. But Teda, my Yeladian. Very good. I didn't know the song. From where? From college days. Maybe tomorrow you won't be. Maybe it's going to come out that you're going to worry. I'm sorry. The hip bones.
No, it's different. But it was different beginning. It was out to Salel in my heart.
Oh yeah, okay. So maybe I'm not getting the whole pasuk yet. It turns out that you're worried about something that wasn't even existing. All the days of the poor are bad, like they struggle. Ben Sira adds also the nights. Because his roof is lower than the other roofs. Marim Harim Karmai, and his vineyard is higher than everyone else's vineyard. When it rains, the water falls off everyone else's roof onto his roof. So he ends up getting flooded by everyone else's water. And from when it floods, so all his topsoil ends up going into everyone else's vineyards. His vineyard was up there. Okay, let's leave it over here.